So I'm joined with a very special guest. She fought the other week. Very special guest. Leading flyweight finishes for women. I'm joined with Gillian Robertson. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Definitely not the result I wanted this last weekend, but we're just looking forward. I'm ready to move on to the next one and ready to just keep on getting better. I'm still on the same mission, just a
Hmm.
little bump in the road.
And if I'm right, you're back in Florida. So what have you been doing since you've been back?
Since I've been back, I've been just doing light pad work and a little bit of grappling from the bottom. It's being very gentle with my face. I have like 8 or 9 stitches, so we don't want to rip that open. So we're not touching my face too much yet, but we're still just getting back into the movement.
I mean, it looks like it's healed well from what I can see. I mean, it was pretty recent. It's healed perfectly.
Oh yeah, the UFC did a top job with the stitches. They took me right back, put a little bit of like lidocaine, I guess, something
Hmm.
to make it numb, and then just stitch me up in the back. And I feel like I'm almost good as new 4 days later, so it's not too bad.
I mean, it definitely looks good. I mean, we're at the week of Christmas, so have you managed to get all that last minute Christmas shopping in?
I actually, I'm so proud of myself this year. I got it done all early. I got it done like the
Really?
first week of December. So yeah, I'm happy that I got all that done.
I mean, that's better than me. I mean, I've got stuff. I mean, I left it late, last minute as usual for me. Got everything coming mid-January now. Completely missed the point of Christmas.
See, that's my problem is I always order everything online. So I always
Hmm.
wait too long. This time I made it a point. I was like, we're gonna do it early. And I also didn't want to do it in fight camp. I didn't want to be focused on
Yeah.
Christmas while I was in fight camp. So I wanted to get it done as early as possible.
I mean, exactly. I mean, the lines here are just ridiculous. I mean, it's awful from me. But speaking of Christmas, is there anything that you really want this year?
Um Honestly, the only thing I look forward to is like my next fight. So if I could get a contract from Dana, if he wanted to be nice, give me that nice Christmas present, then that would be the best one ever.
I mean, speaking of fighting, obviously you fought last weekend. I mean, is there an ideal time for you to fight again? A good turnaround time for you?
uh January, February, I'd be ready to go no matter what. I'm trying to get in there as often as possible. And uh like I said, I'm already back to work. I just have a little cut on my nose. Other than that, my body's fine. Everything's fine. So we're ready to go.
I mean, yeah, and I'd definitely be looking forward for your return. That's for sure. Um, I mean, is there anything in that fight that really surprised you?
Um, I guess uh like um I don't know. It's hard to speak right now because I
Mm.
haven't watched it back.
Yeah.
So in the moment, obviously you know what's going on, but there's so much adrenaline in you that you forget majority of the fight.
Mm.
And also, I had a lot of blood in my eyes during a lot of the fights, so I don't really remember. Like a lot of it was just like off of instinct, and like I couldn't see anything, and it was. So I'm not really exactly 100% sure how the fight went. I guess you can say
Mm.
until I watch it back, until I go back and analyze it and look at it. So, yeah, I don't really know too much. I guess.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but you're back now. You're chilling. You're here for Christmas, and I've got to know. Obviously, you live in Florida, so what's it like there? And obviously, you can't tell by the accent. I'm from England. I live in London, so I'm sure it's pretty different to where I live. So, how are things over there with COVID?
With COVID, it's
Mm.
everything's open now in Florida. I
Really?
feel like Florida is acting like it's nothing's happening pretty much. Like there's clubs open, everything like that. Obviously, I'm trying to be more careful because
Mm.
just for my fight career, I can't fight if I get COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stay away from people and still trying to, distance myself. But Florida is 100% open.
It sounds like I'm gonna have to move there because here it just keeps getting worse and worse here. We've got a new strain here. It's so depressing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of other states in the U.S. that are getting like full lockdowns again, and but Florida just doesn't seem to really acknowledge it yet.
Yeah, and you mentioned with the COVID testing, obviously you were in Abu Dhabi. Was it a bit more lenient when you were fighting in Vegas, all the procedures?
It's definitely not as many COVID tests.
Hmm.
You have to take one before you leave, one when you show up on for fight week, and then another one on weigh-in day. So you have to take three total. But when I went to Abu Dhabi, I think I took like 14 or 15, and I was there for 20 days. So it's
Wow.
like and there's 4 days quarantine you have, where you're quarantined for 2 days in Vegas and quarantined for 2 days in Abu Dhabi, while before you go out there, or before you're released into the hotel. So it's definitely a lot more when you're going over to Fight Island.
And are you in like a self-isolation period? Do you have to stay in the bubble at all?
No, Florida doesn't have any regulations like that. I don't know. I know a lot of different countries are doing like 2 weeks. You have to stay in a hotel. You can't do anything. But with Florida, they don't have any restrictions really.
Wow, I mean, that's certainly making me jealous. Like, I need to move out there, but because I've been doing my research on America, and I've got to know if I were to come to Florida, what's the best thing to do there?
Um, train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's about all I do. That's what I spend my time doing, is just
Mm.
training. And yeah, that's about my life. I trained this morning and I've got to go back again tonight. Take care of my dog. That's about it.
I
Head to the
mean,
beach.
oh, I mean, it's jealous. I mean, I've been doing some research and going to America, and I've seen Florida, and I've seen like people get into some sort of like snake hunting over there. They're going out and like catching boa constrictors with their bare hands. I mean, it's looking crazy over there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like Florida's famous for those Florida man stories. Like Florida
Mhm.
man did this, and it's always something crazy, something wild. And yeah, we're definitely, I feel like, one of the states who's a little bit out there.
Yeah, I mean, you said you've got a dog. I think you got a pit bull. I mean, have you ever encountered? I mean, when you're walking here, and you just see like a huge crocodile or a snake just chilling in the grass.
Yeah, like a couple days ago, I was walking out in just like in the savannas. It's a nature preserve area,
Mm.
and there's two gators out there just hanging out. But they're more scared of you than anything else. They're not coming after
Really?
you.
I mean, yeah, it's a bit different from the sheep you see over here. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome to be able to see a sheep, though.
Really? You think, well, surely an alligator or a snake, it's much more exciting. I don't know. It's more adrenaline, surely.
More adrenaline. But I don't know. We're
Yeah.
just used to them over here. We get them all the time.
I mean, I'm going to have to, and I know also that you've been lucky enough to fight all over the world. You fought in Prague, you were in Abu Dhabi, obviously America, and I know you fought in Liverpool. I think it was 2018, if I'm mistaken. And I've got to ask, what did you think of England?
Uh, Honestly, during fight week, I don't get to go out too much.
Hmm.
It's like I'm cutting weight that week. I don't really want to do too much. I'm doing a lot of media stuff and then just like focused on the fight. Just want to be thinking about it, meditating, and just doing everything towards the fight. So I didn't really get to go out too much while I was in Liverpool. But that's probably my favorite opponent that I've ever fought, Molly McCann.
Yeah.
She's just a great person in general. Ever since the fight, we've hung out with each other since then. We've constantly messaged each other, always shown each other support. So she's probably my favorite opponent I've ever had, was the girl from Liverpool.
Really, I mean, did it feel sort of extra sweet, obviously, because she's from England? You kind of beat her in your own backyard. Is that something you guys talk about at all?
Honestly, all my pro fights until I think hers or the one after that were always in my opponent's hometown. So
Really?
it was like, I guess, a typical experience for me. I was just used to it. But yeah, I feel like we both learned a lot from that fight. And as fighters, we've grown to, like, we've seen each other grow. And she actually messaged me about coming out and training. She said she's getting her 3-year visa to come to
Wow.
America. So we'll hopefully get some work in the future.
That sounds good. I mean, obviously, you Liverpool and you fought in Prague as well. I mean, fighting in Europe, how does that compare to America or the rest of the world? Is there anything that feels different, or do you train differently? Is there anything that you do different when training in Europe as opposed to America?
Um, I guess not necessarily, but even no matter what, in Florida, we're always at a lower elevation. So I feel
Mhm.
like anywhere I go, even when I go to Las Vegas in America, they're at a higher elevation, or Prague, it's a higher elevation than Florida. So that's a little bit different. But I feel like if you go out there and you make smart decisions, you're never going to really feel the that too much. You're never going to feel the elevation change too much, or the uh yeah, I guess it's all the same. The UFC takes care of us the same. We always have trifecta with our meals. So you're pretty isolated in the hotel, I guess, whenever you go to train and whenever you go to fight. And especially with now with COVID, they just 100% take care of us. They don't want us to interact with anybody. We're in our little bubble there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Definitely. I mean, I think it's surely a lot colder in Europe, that's for sure. Because I think I've heard Florida's really, it's so humid and hot out there. So I don't know how you cope.
Oh yeah, it's honestly I love the humidity, I love the heat. It's about 70 degrees right now, and we're 3 days away from Christmas, 2 days away from Christmas now.
Yeah, I think anything over that, because I'm just not used to it, I just melt. I can't do it. Especially as you said with the training, I think I would just melt and I just die of heat exhaustion. It'd be too much
See,
over
for me,
there.
I'm thinking about the cold. Cold is worse for me because my bones they start hurting, and
Really?
then you can't get warmed up. I feel like it's easy once you start warm.
Really? Because surely if you're cold, it's easier to warm up than it is to cool down because you can just put layers on.
Yeah, I don't just for training wise. I've trained for too long. I don't feel like I'm 25 anymore, and my all my bones are aching once it starts getting cold.
I mean, I've been listening. I'm only 20 years old, and I already feel like an old man and everything with what's going on, and just my back hurting and this and that. So it's not looking good for me in the future, that's for sure. But obviously, you're back now. You're chilling. You're not in fight camp anymore. So is there one? I mean, they have a lot of food in America. So there's just kind of one meal that you were really looking forward to when you got back.
Uh, really, bread is the thing I miss most when I'm in fight camp. I cut it out. That's probably the first carb that I cut, and it's what I miss more than anything. So I've just been having lots of bread, everything with bread. If it's like pizza or burgers or sandwiches or anything that has bread on it is my go-to right now.
That's crazy. I mean, I know obviously, you smoke weeds a lot. So is there anything that you really crave when you get the munchies? Is that bread as well, or is there another sort of like sweeter thing that you crave?
I have a glorious snack closet at my house. So I it's filled with like Jolly Ranchers and Starburst and all kinds of potato chips and everything in there. So we just go and we raid the snack closet and just see what I can get into.
I actually think I could rival you on that because my snack drawer is legendary. I mean, literally on my desk right here, I've got all of this. So I mean, I think I'm gonna have to rival you in that. I might have to take it on that one, I think.
Coming prepared.
Exactly, I know, but obviously I know I saw whilst preparing, and I saw that you've also you smoke weed with like Snoop Dogg, and I was actually going to ask you, apart from him, is there anyone dead or alive that you just love to have a joint with?
Uh, I guess out of the MMA world, I'm gonna go with Nick and Nate
Mm.
Diaz. I've
Oh,
never spoke with them, and I feel like they're legends of the sport, and that's what they're known for. I think that would be absolutely dope to be able to smoke with them.
really? No one from like anyone like any period of history, like no one back in time. I feel like it's got to be Jesus.
It's gotta be Jesus.
Yeah, just see what like I don't know, just see what was going on back then. I don't know. It should be interesting.
I That would definitely be a dope person to smoke weed with.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd get some good. I don't know about the language barrier, but there'd be some good answers out of him there. I'd just love to see what was going on back then. But I wonder if I can just transition back into talking about MMA. And obviously, you train with Din Thomas. You've been with him for ages, since you were a teenager. And do you sort of talk me through that first training session with him? Do you remember like what it was training like him for the first time?
Honestly, I just started at his gym when I was like 16 years old at a cardio kickboxing class. So he wasn't even the head coach really at the time. He had people who he hired that were
Mm.
his cardio kickboxing coach or his MMA coaches. And then it was just after a few months of me training at his gym that he saw what a hard worker I was and how often I was in there and how dedicated I was to it. So he started putting his time into me. But like back then, I didn't even watch the UFC. I didn't like know anything about MMA. So I didn't really understand his significance at that point. I didn't really understand how much of a mastermind he was in the sport. And like he was getting paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars down at Coconut Creek for the like world champions to work with him. And then he was working with me who was an amateur who wasn't making a single penny, and
Mm.
I didn't really understand the kind of commitment that he had that he was putting into me at that point. And now it's like I look back on it and realize like he didn't have to do any of that. I wasn't making any kind of money, but yeah, so I guess it was just kind of a gradual thing. I didn't really like necessarily start underneath him 100%, but he just noticed that I was a hard worker and saw a lot of his attributes in me at that time.
And it obviously looks like being with him, there's a lot of great perks there. I mean, I was watching the UFC posted a great video of you and Dean going on the road, and you actually met Shaq. I mean, talk to me, what was that like? That must have been pretty cool going to his house.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely insane. So like his house is on probably like 20 acres, just a huge house. And then hit him himself, he's I think 7'6", something like that, and just a giant human being. Just to see him, and he's a legend, in everything, in sports and business. He's just an all-around hustler, and those are the type of people you need to surround yourself with.
I mean, hypothetically, if he came into the world of MMA, who would be a great matchup for him, do you think?
Oh no, he's literally like double the size of any heavyweight that I've seen. He is just so huge.
Yeah, I'd have to cut off a leg to make that 265 weight limit, I'm pretty sure.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah, there's no way.
I think, what about Bob Sapp? I mean, I saw he called out Bob Sapp as a joke in that video. I mean, I think that would be entertaining.
That would be entertaining, definitely. I still feel like he's got quite a lot of size on any human. Like I've never seen someone as big as him.
I mean, that would definitely be a cool fight card to get onto. Matter you as the co-main or something. I mean, that would be a pretty cool fight card to be a part of.
Yeah, put me as a co-main, and I'm happy with that.
And I've got to, and obviously, as I said before, we're near Christmas, and I kind of want to go. Obviously, we've had so many great fights this year and so many standout fighters. But for you, what has been your fight of the year that you've just watched this year and you've just thought, wow, that's amazing?
Oh, not sure. There's been a lot this year. I think I gotta go with the girls. Go with Joanna and Wei Lee.
Yeah, what a
I
fight.
feel like they put on the show, and yeah, there's been a lot of great fights this year. There were a lot of great knockouts too.
And yeah, definitely. And I think that, yeah, that fight, I'd love to see a rematch on that. I'm sure you would as well. I mean, that fight, just the striking. I honestly, I wasn't expecting them to do that, but that sort of fight was just, and that card as well was amazing. And then looking into next year, we've got in January a lot of great fights, but a huge one, Conor or Dustin. And I'd love to get your prediction on that.
I'm torn on this one. I feel like Dustin's dedicated and he's been hardworking. He's been at it, but I feel like Conor's still coming back as the Conor he used to be, and he's got such good precision with that left hand that I want to say Dustin, but I feel like the right answer is Conor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Europe. I mean, I'm close to Ireland, so I'm going to have to back. He's more native to me, but I do like both fighters. But over here especially, there's nothing better than a Conor fight in Europe, that's for sure. And I've got to know, I'm in the festive spirit, as I'm sure you are. And one of the final questions I have, I need to stand up for this. But out of 10, I want your out of 10 honest opinion. What are you thinking of the Christmas jumper?
I'll give that a 9.
9.
That's up there.
I think what would make it a 10? That's what I want to know.
I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit of
yeah, it's too low down. Look, it's low. I mean, awful. But I mean,
but it's still up there.
I mean, that's good to hear for me. I mean, it's pretty itchy though. I've got to wear a t-shirt underneath though. It'll leave me rashes everywhere. It's not great, but
that's what makes it a 9.
There you go. There you go. But is there anything? I mean, the floor is yours. If you want to shout anything out, then feel free.
Just always shout out my main training partner, Jose Shorty Torres, and my head coach, Dean Thomas. And if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @savage_UFC. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect. I mean,